A remake of Halo Combat Evolved should have been a big fat easy W for Xbox, and yet 343/Halo Studios screwed this up. People are wrecking Cortana's design. People are wrecking the addition of girl boss characters. People are taking to the forums to voice how unhappy they are with launch and how many technical issues this game has, and the moderators are locking down threads and silencing gamers. The Steam scores are tanking, and
Mm,
this could not be a bigger nightmare for them. I have a
yeah.
few different things to show
Yep.
off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the
Uh,
community in my live
subscribe to
streams,
it,
and
guys.
consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, this game is not horrendous in every way, shape, or form. I do think that it looks pretty visually appealing. I do think that the
Right.
gunplay is pretty fun, but there are a lot of unnecessary changes to this. Like, there are no health packs in the game, it's just health that regenerates
Right.
over time. They
Yeah.
added in mobs that were not in this series until later entries, like flood tanks. They decided to add in all of these new modern characters,
Mm,
and again, it still feels like Halo, but unfortunately, it feels like a more modern version of Halo, and it is getting wrecked on social media right now. The early
yes. To the game's credit, to Halo Campaign Evolved's credit, the gameplay has not been criticized as much. The gameplay is fine. Some people think it's great, but most people think that is fine. Um, the biggest controversy isn't over the gameplay, and as you said, there are a few nitpicks as well about, like, health packs, and then I think a lot of other criticism came from the AI, like, some of the Covenant, like specifically the elites, when they I actually saw this. I'll see if I can react to this too. When the elites go invisible, there's actually indicators on the invisible elites, so you can actually see where they are. So there's no point in them going invisible at all. And I thought that was hilarious because the one of the scariest things in the original Halo games is when the elites went invisible. You truly had no idea where they were. Now you could see them, but you had to really, 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 really focus and, like, try to look around the map because they, especially on, like, the hardest difficulty, they were absolutely terrifying because they would sneak up behind you, and sometimes they would let a battle cry, and you'd be able to locate them that way when they're about to stab you. But that's only when they're about to actually swing their swords and take you out. Um, it was great. It was absolutely great. And also scary facing the elites when they went invisible in the original games. But now, I guess because they're afraid that if they make it too hard, that some gamers will get frustrated, they actually put, like, indicators on where the invisible elites are. They have, like, this red tag above them. It's like that defeats the whole purpose. It defeats the whole purpose of them going invisible. But yeah, let me not ramble for too long about that. Yeah, the biggest controversy is in itself the characters and the story and the plots. And she's going to go into these two characters specifically. And, this character right here, who I believe is an ODST um, soldier, she's from the books as well. I could be wrong, but I believe she's from the books. But of course, they're using the books as source material, but then they're changing the details of the character from the book. So they want you to read the books, but also they're gonna change some of the lore and the continuity, and that doesn't make any sense. So you're gonna have someone from the books here, but then you're gonna change her completely for the most part in order to appeal to a certain group of people. And then we have Cortana here, who got changed again. I think she got changed like 6 times. I think the Halo 4 variant of her is like the most popular, even though Halo 4 wasn't the most well received. They liked the way Cortana looked in the game, and now they have her here in, like, her sixth form, and she's getting the criticism for being, I think the word they used was uglification. So she's experiencing uglification on purpose in order to make sure that women aren't seen as sex symbols. She's been uglified, and people are very upset by that because Cortana is supposed to be not necessarily a symbol for the male gaze. She's supposed to be, like, fictional, and obviously, if something's fictional, it's going to be unrealistically beautiful. So they didn't like that they made her like ugly on purpose in order to, I guess eliminate that the possibility of her becoming a symbol for the male gaze, a sort of a lustful distraction or a lustful um addition to the gameplay in the story. They didn't want that for her at all, so they made her look a certain type of way on purpose, and people are very very upset about that, as you can imagine.
Early access started 2 days ago, and on release day, there were tons of issues. Xbox services were down. People had to uninstall the game, not install the DLC art books and editions that you get. So, don't you just love spending $70 on something and not getting what you paid for? And then you would be lucky if your game would work, and the scores have not gone up. It is still sitting at a mixed on Steam. If we take to the Steam forums, the moderators are banning people, locking down threads, and silencing critical gamers. And it's just unfortunate to see this happen because I, like many other people, absolutely love Halo. I want Halo to thrive, but
Hmm.
modern Halo is just garbage. Modern Halo Studios is garbage, and it was very clear that they didn't want to do the best job possible. They just were like, we're not making money, so yeah, we're just going to pump this out and hope people buy it. And I'm certain
Right.
that there are plenty of gamers out there who decided to purchase this. There's a lot of love and nostalgia for this series, but if it is going to do the numbers that they expected, only time will tell. So let's start out with this thread by learning the law, or manga lawyer. If only we could have predicted what was going to happen to Halo in Halo Studios. And there have always been women that have been a part of
Right.
what was Bungie, and then 343, and then Halo. But it is very clear that they are hiring also plenty of women who know nothing about video games, and they just wanted to up their diversity, higher numbers. And then it leads to situations like this. You got Gold Mustard Cortana, who I don't think every single angle or shot of her in this game looks terrible. But then you see ones like this, and it's like, oh my god, yeah, there are also moments where it kind of reminds me of Star Wars Outlaws, where you had a beautiful actress. And then there are some shots of her in the game where it actually looks like that actress, but then there's other shots where her face looks completely different and she looks 10 times worse than you could have ever imagined. It seems that the shots, at least by my observations, the shots that are in the trailers look way better. And then when you actually are playing the game, shots like this that didn't make it into the promotional material look worse. I would assume that that's intentional, given them uglifying women in video games is intentional. You have this girl boss character who I personally have not encountered because
Mm,
they
mm.
decided to add in 3 prequel missions, and this is a character that is very prominent in those. So I haven't gotten to this chick yet, but man, oh man, does that character look freaking horrific. This image
Yeah,
highlights a very big issue that I have with
she
this game
was
in general, and
very
that is that
very
it is a Halo for
very
modern
very hated by the
audiences.
community.
Cloaked elites now have
When I tell you, I
markers
knew it. I knew she was
on
gonna
them
bring that
so
up.
you
I
can
knew she was gonna
see
bring that up.
where
I
they
knew it.
are at all times. What a slap in the face to your customer base's intelligence. That is absolutely horrific, and I personally think that it's a crime against humanity. There
Oh
are
man.
also a lot of bugs and glitches and technical issues that this game has. 5 minutes into the experience, you are facing these big issues that end up hurting whatever positive experience that you could actually get out of this. And it's just sad that studios feel that they can continue to scam us. You expect us to pay $70 for a deluxe edition with early access, and then
Hmm.
day one, early access doesn't work for a lot of people because your services are down, because there's a problem when you're downloading this game, and then you finally get into the game, and that You are killed for dumb reasons, pointless reasons, unfair reasons. No, no, no. You are a freaking joke. Here's an image of this female character again. What a jump scare all around. But let's take to Steam because day one, the scores were pretty mixed and it made sense. A lot of people couldn't actually play their purchase, but it is still sitting at a mixed with over 2,000 reviews. All of the pre-release reviews are flooding in and people are saying this game feels unfinished and unpolished. Wait for a sale or upgrade. Oh yeah, this would be an okay game at a $20 price tag,
Mm,
maybe a $30 price tag if you are a big Halo fan. Otherwise, it is just not worth it. Okay,
hmm.
so I have a lot to say, and the worst part, honestly, is that I only played about an hour. I'm really disappointed and also really depressed because I feel Halo as a franchise is toast. Yeah, this is a series that you thought was untouchable at one point in history, that they
Hmm.
could do no wrong and they were always going to be making absolutely phenomenal games. And yet, this is the best we get. It's over. If you look at the
So,
game from a purely graphical standpoint, it's gorgeous. I'm impressed with the visuals, but the built in film grain that can't be turned off sucks, not to mention the blurriness of frame gen as well as DLSS. Cutscenes are locked to 30 FPS, and they also just have a really uncanny feeling. It feels like there's an AI filter over it, which really bothers me personally.
mm,
Unfortunately, this game feels rushed, incomplete, and just leaves so much to be desired. Here you have a review that says, the good is that it's pretty, and the bad is online requirement for a single player game, which, by the way, there's no multiplayer, which is so infuriating. The new weapons are a very odd choice, and the changes to the assault rifle ammo count is atrocious. This shows the
mm,
devs did not understand OG Halo's design when it came to weapon purpose. Certain set pieces lack the same impact due to the devs making parts of the level seem more natural. Nothing
mm,
really feels remade, just a visual update with very opinionated changes. They could have extended levels, allowed certain weapons on earlier levels, added dual wielding, completely changed slash added levels, actually let us hijack banshees and
right.
redesign levels so
That's
that
very
doing
important.
so would not break them. Things would make the player feel like they are not playing an altered map, but a completely reimagined game, but that did not happen. And to top all of this off, now if you go to the forums, there are tons of threads being locked down. I may do a separate video on this over the next couple of days if this continues, but Halo Studios, we are dying out. No comments, no argument, not a discussion here. It got locked by moderators instantly.
Mm,
Forcing feminism into the bonus mission, they talk about the problems with this, and the topic has been locked by a moderator. No replies can be made. Not even
wow.
an argument there. People are
Yeah.
saying, well, Bungie isn't getting my money, and this isn't Bungie, but that.
Wow. I'll pull it back in a bit, guys. But yeah, the fact that they're locking out people from being able to use their freedom of speech is never, ever, ever a good sign. That is very, very bad. That's not good at all. That is not good. Um, this usually happens in the absolute worst case scenario. That's when the criticism has gotten so bad that the only way to stop it is to take away people's freedom of speech and not allow people to talk about it anymore. That's how you know that things have gotten really, 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 really bad. And obviously, people are going to notice when their freedom of speech is being infringed upon, and that's going to make the situation worse. The worst thing you can do when people are criticizing your your game or your products or anything that you do is to take away their freedom of speech because that means that not only are what they're saying is correct, even if it isn't, it also means that it's getting to you, and the only way to, I guess, reduce your or the impact it's having on you is to take away people's ability to talk about it, which is the worst thing you're going to do because that's only going to make the hatred stronger and more bold. So that is not good. That is absolutely not good, and that really speaks to how much negative attention the game is getting. Even though I know people like worked very hard on it, and I'm not going to like be too harsh on the people who worked on the game. I know people need to eat, people need, to keep their jobs. They have to follow certain mandates, have to follow certain rules. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who worked on the game, even though they can't speak on it, probably wanted to go in a different direction, but the people in power told them that they had certain requirements that they had to meet. They wanted to appeal to a certain fan base in order to increase their revenue, and they had to just follow orders. So I'm not going to try to be too hard on them, but this is what happens when you try to chase profit over making sure that the hardcore fan base, the fan base that's going to be around when, I guess the trend followers leave, people who are just playing Halo because it's cool right now, when they leave, your core fan base is going to be what's left, and you're neglecting them in order to appeal to the trend followers, and that's not a good decision at all. It's going to come back to bite them, and this is evidence of that. This is really evidence of that because look how much the game's only been out for like a few days at the time of this recording, and look how much hate it's getting. That's really, 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 really bad.
Got locked by moderators instantly, forcing feminism into the bonus mission. They talk about the problems with this, and the topic has been locked by a moderator. No replies can be made,
Mm,
not even an argument there. People are saying, well, Bungie isn't getting my money, and this isn't Bungie, but that still got locked by a moderator. Somebody saying, not fun, totally not fun. Unlike the original, to play it lacks the heart and soul of the original, which I personally would agree with, but apparently I am a toxic chud because my reply would have gotten
oh,
locked by the moderators as well. So they are melting down right
yeah,
now. They are
yeah, they are.
not taking this backlash and the criticism very well. They are not happy that people are not just shutting up and consuming content. It
Mm,
is always unfortunate when you have a game that you are so excited for and then it comes out and it's like, I mean, it's fine. It could have been better, but it also could have been worse. But then to top that off with them locking down replies and telling you to shut up, yeah,
hmm
that is a terrible look. And if this continues, oh man, they are going to face even more backlash for it. So I will definitely be keeping an eye on the forums and the Steam scores to see if they go up. I'm also curious to see if Xbox tries to boast about potential sales for this. Only time will tell. But for now,
Right.
that's all that I really had to discuss in this video.
Okay, guys. So yeah, definitely subscribe to our channel. I'll see if I can leave a link in the description. I want to get this video up as quickly as I possible, or as I possibly can. Man, I gotta uh start being more consistent with my choice of words. But yeah, that is that is really, really scary for Halo. It's really scary. Um, I want Halo to succeed. I know people have been really like asking for Halo to come to an end ever since I think four like was like when it started to get some criticism as in like the storytelling and the gameplay, et cetera, et cetera. But it's five that really made a lot of hardcore fans say maybe this franchise should just die. One through three was good. It was a great way to end the franchise, but maybe it should just die with Halo 3. Um, but now, um, and again, there was a period where it had hope. When Halo Infinite got announced, it was called something different. It had like a different title at the time. When people found out about that, they were hopeful because it was going to be on the next gen consoles and had better graphics, better gameplay. He had like this grappling hook. Everyone was excited about that. And then it came out, it had all these bugs, and online gameplay wasn't the best. So people didn't like that at all. But now, um, with the release of Halo Campaign Evolved, people are really, really, they're saying like that this is it. This is the end of the franchise. There's no reason for it to go any further. It's really embarrassing. Like one of the reviewers said, there's a time where Halo was untouchable. Halo was untouchable, and you didn't think that anybody could compete with it. Excuse me. They didn't think anyone could compete with Halo, and now look at it. Look what's going on. They have the introduction of these characters that are obviously trying to appeal to a certain audience, and then you have the uglification of Cortana. Like, she got changed for 6 times, 6, 7 times, maybe it might be the 8th time she got changed because there's so many versions of her. But now they have this version, and this is like probably considered to be the worst version. Um, and they're taking away people's freedom of speech and not allow people to criticize or talk about it. They really are in a very bad state right now. Like Halo is in like probably the worst state that we've ever seen. And I think there's a project called Halo Next, which is supposed to be Halo 7, which is the game that everybody really wanted instead of this remaster. Well, excuse me, this remake is a remake because we already had a remaster. They really wanted Halo 7, and the only way Halo 7 was going to work is they find a way to first of all, if they find a way to fix Infinite, if they could show that Infinite could work with all the patches and bug fixes, it would be an excellent example of what Halo 7 could be. And this was just an insert to hold people over until they finish Halo 7. Campaign Involved was just a placeholder until they finished Halo 7, and it was also used to get fan support and revenue in order to fund um, Halo 7 because they can't keep providing updates for Halo Infinite online forever. They have to find something else to get money into the studio. So, and also provide evidence to the investors and the board members that Halo's still a franchise worth saving. Campaign Involved was that. It was a way to show these, the suits that people still want to play Halo, and it's not going very well right now. It's not going very well, and I don't want this franchise to come to an end necessarily. I think if anything should take a break until the right people are in charge who understand the original Halo franchise, the original 1, 2, and 3 franchise, what made it great, all the details that made it amazing, and get back to basics. Stop trying to appeal to these newer gamers, these newer audiences. Stop trying to do that. Halo wasn't necessarily made for them. It was made for a specific type of gamer, usually a hardcore gamer, who is willing to be, what's the best way for me to say this? To be, it was made for a gamer because I have to choose my words carefully, guys. We're a certain age of YouTube where you have to choose your words carefully. It was made for a gamer in a specific time period who wanted to see certain characters act a certain type of way. Um, and usually that behavior wasn't politically correct. That's how I'm going to describe that situation and that reality. Um, they wanted to see the characters behave in a way that wasn't necessarily politically correct, or it outright wasn't politically correct. It was, some would say, idealistic and and unfiltered, and they want that era of gaming to come back. And if the people who are making Halo now can't do that, then they should step aside and let someone who can do that do it. And it might require them to swallow their pride, but that is the only way you're going to be able to save this franchise. It's the only way you're going to be able to save Halo. But enough of me rambling, guys. This video is way too long. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Um, Keep it civil, guys. Don't get this video taken down because the comment section's like crazy. I'm not going to be deleting comments, but YouTube, this is their platform. I'm just performing on it. Just keep that in mind. But I've been on AdClear. You guys have been amazing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.